All right. Third time's the charm. Back for real. Thanks for stopping in at today's Daily Brief. It is Wednesday, April 16th. Have some fun stuff to run down from the headlines yesterday. Yet another eventful Tuesday in Minot. Crazy how that's been happening lately. But first, as always, going to start with some This Day in History. 1945, the Soviet Red Army is finalizing its final assault on Berlin to finally take over the German capital. Back in 2007, unfortunately, today in history is the date of the Virginia Tech shooting massacre. 32 people were killed and another 17 injured. So tragedy there. 2014, a really interesting event that I encourage you to look into. The South Korean ferry, the MV Sewol, capsized and sinks in a bay, and it's been highly criticized towards the South Korean government for how it was handled. Over 300 people were killed, and when it initially capsized, it's known that likely hundreds of them were still alive, and it was capsized up above water for hours before they were able. It eventually did sink, and unfortunately they weren't able to save anyone, so it's been highly criticized. Really interesting thing to look into. I also made a purchase. I got the Dakota Date book. It's a This Day in History book of North Dakota stuff. It's awesome. I love it. In today's date in history, April 16th, a bright idea. Mr. Thomas Neary, who was a well-known attorney from right here in Minot, back in 1909, he created it wasn't necessarily night vision, but low light efficiency sights for guns. So he brought it to the Army. They tested it out in different conditions. It worked fantastic. He never ended up going anywhere with it when that was right at the time of World War I's onset. It didn't start until 1914, but his product was never pursued further by the Army, but a really neat invention that came forward today in history. And that brings us to the headlines. And of course, big headline today, Paul Pitner, city councilman here in Minot since 2018, announced yesterday that he as well will be throwing his hat into the ring for the Minot mayoral race. So that means we will have at minimum it seems like we will have at minimum 4 candidates, assuming everyone collects the requisite signatures needed. So it's going to be a very eventful summer. You have 3 people that are on the council. It's going to be an interesting thing to follow, a really interesting dynamic between them, both on the campaign trail and at city council meetings. So look forward to that going ahead. Yesterday as well on Minot Talk, we had Alderwoman Lisa Olson stop by. We had some really good conversations, talked about childcare, the history of the childcare committee here in town, some issues that have arisen in Minot, where they want to go forward, and a recent resolution that was shot down at city council. We discussed a lot of that. Got her take on some of the special election dates and when it could possibly happen, as well as looking at some education issues across the state, whether it be no cell phones in classrooms or education savings accounts. Really good conversation we had with Lisa yesterday, so make sure you go check out yesterday's Minot Talk on Facebook and YouTube. Then some big headlines on top of that across the state. The North Dakota Senate tosses out kratom regulations in favor of a study. So the state was looking at regulating kratom, and on Tuesday they voted to instead start doing a study on it, and so they will revisit this in the future following that study's results. The North Dakota Senate defeats a bill that was aimed to divest Legacy Fund from China. So the North Dakota Senate narrowly defeated House Bill 1330 on Tuesday, a measure that would have permitted the State Investment Board to divest Legacy Fund assets from companies based in China. The 20-26 vote came amid debate over balancing national security concerns with fiduciary responsibilities. Supporters cited these threats based on Chinese Communist Party and human rights violations, while opponents warned the bill would limit investment opportunities and politicize fund management. Roughly 2.1% of the $12 billion fund is currently invested in Chinese firms. The Retirement and Investment Office remained neutral on the bill. So, North Dakota lawmakers also considered a bill that could lead to state employees paying for health premiums. The North Dakota House Appropriations Committee voted 15-7 yesterday to recommend Senate Bill 2160, which would transition the state employee health insurance plan to one compliant with the Federal Affordable Care Act, a permanent move that allows the state to require employees to contribute to premium costs. Supporters say the shift expands covered services and offers long-term budget flexibility. Critics, including state agencies and public employee unions, warned the change could undermine recruitment and retention by reducing the appeal of state benefits. So it will now head to the House floor for a full vote. Make sure we will definitely keep updated on that one as well. Make sure you keep an eye on the state legislature. A big national news subject that came ahead, the Maryland man that was accidentally deported from to El Salvador prison earlier. The judge yesterday in that case ruled that the administration as of yet had been doing nothing on the issue. So who knows where it's going to play out in the future. There's a chance they could hold him in contempt, or something could end up getting resolved and done in the next couple days. That's another major national thing that we will have to be keeping an eye on and a heads up going forward. Some other things though at the Dakotan here. Tomorrow we have a very exciting ND talk. It's April 17th, which is Leif Snyder Day. So we have, I believe, Lisa Hermosillo and Rob Fuller will both be joining us, so we can have a full panel rundown on a bunch of topics across the state, and we'll talk about Leif in depth for sure as well. So as always, thank you all for watching. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and you hit the bell button for notifications. Give us a like on the video. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on all the social medias. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.